Y'all buckle up.
Y'all ready?
It's about to get wild.
Let's do it.
Y'all, I'm here with a special guest, Reggie. Oh my gosh, it's been
forever.
Forever.
But I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
So glad to be back. And we're excited to talk to you guys about the whole journey.
The new house.
Catch you up on the new house situation.
Let's do it.
Okay, so where do we start? We're going to start with how we came across the neighborhood that we are currently in.
Mm-hmm.
So let's backtrack to 2020.
Was it 2020 or was it 2019? 2020?
2020, because I moved back from
back
Wisconsin
2 years
2019.
ago, yeah.
2020,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So basically what happened was I got asked to be in a photo shoot, which was so kind. It was actually a bridal photo shoot. And I had to get my makeup done beforehand. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to this girl's house, get my makeup done, because that's where her studio was. I pull up to the neighborhood and I'm like, wait. This neighborhood is so cute, very eclectic. The houses have alleyways and all the things. I'm not gonna explain too much because obviously we live here, but it was just
I think
so
you sent
perfect.
me pictures when you was there, or did you wait until you got? I don't even think you waited until you got home.
No, I was
I
like,
think you was texting me while
OMG,
you
we
were there.
need to
Yeah.
come over
She
here.
was texting me
So
while
she
you
was
were
so kind. The makeup girl was so kind. Shout out to Minna Garcia Beauty. Love her. After I got my makeup done, I was like, your house is beautiful. Do you guys love this neighborhood? All the things. She was so nice enough to give me a tour of her house. That just sealed the deal because I was like, okay, wow, it's beautiful. All the finishes were updated, very modern. It was a new construction house, but it didn't look like every other new construction neighborhood or house.
Mind you, y'all, this neighborhood is in an area that we're very familiar with.
Yeah.
Very familiar with.
Yeah.
Because Jasmine's parents actually lived in this area, but before Jasmine went to this house and got her makeup done at this house, we had no idea about this neighborhood.
We've never seen this neighborhood because it's in the cut.
It's
in a back street. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I literally lived here way back in the day, when I was in high school. Never seen this place before. So very excited, got my makeup done. I was like, babe, gotta come over here. And so that's what we did. We went over to the neighborhood, drove through, and Reggie was like, this is it. We love it.
Yo, this is tough. Because it had that traditional feel.
Yeah.
In a way, that family, just beautiful.
It was really, honestly, very perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And very modern enough for us.
Yeah.
We're not really into older homes, no offense. Love that y'all love character and all that stuff. I'm sorry, we are modern people.
Mm-hmm.
Not super modern industrial, but we do more modern things. And this just felt really fresh, really up to date, very much us. So,
but the vibe of the neighborhood was that traditional family feel.
Right, it was
listen, y'all, when you drive around the neighborhoods, we don't really see kids playing outside like that no more. I remember when we was growing up, we was on our scooters, on our bikes, all that. This is what we were seeing in this neighborhood, and I'm like, oh snap, this isn't common anymore. So
yeah.
It's a mixture of that traditional family feel in the neighborhood, but at the same time, the actual houses was a modern feel.
And the weirdest thing is, for me, I can only speak for me, it felt like home. Mm-hmm. When I was driving, I was like, this feels like my neighborhood. This feels like my home. Mm-hmm. And we weren't even living there. So anyways, at this point, it's 2020. We weren't even married yet. So we would just drive through. We would drive through. And then, once we got married, that's when we really started, which we got married in 2021. That's when we really started being okay, time frame. When do we want to move and buy a home? What does this look like? And so that's when we really heavily started looking over in this neighborhood. The only issue was I really desired new construction. Reggie was more so, he was kind of indifferent. He was I could do an existing home or in construction, it doesn't matter.
So my idea and my plan was I wanted to find something that was one, like this neighborhood and where we are now is a little bit further out from like the inner city, Raleigh,
Right.
all that where everything is going on. So that was one thing that was like, at first I was kind of like, but then two, like I was thinking, okay, long term, like we get into something, we stay in there maybe a year, 2 years, we bounce, we turn it into an investment property, all of that. But Jasmine wanted something brand spanking new.
And I wanted it to be comfortable. I'm sorry, I'm just not the one to like buy a fixer upper and just to stay in it for 2 years to just flip it. That's just not me. But anyways, okay, so we were looking and we were praying and we were like, man, Lord,
For 2 years.
We really want to be in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
It honestly flipped back and forth because there were some points where we were looking way out in the boonies.
We was out
Way out in the boonies.
like passing by farms and open fields.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa, we see wheat. Ain't nobody got time for that. No offense if you live in the country, but
And
like,
this is shout out to Jasmine's parents because they was
Yeah.
like, yo, like while we were in the process and we were looking at different homes and stuff like that, I'll be real, I'll be honest. I was thinking, okay, what can we afford? Like what will be way below our means?
Yes.
And in this area, I was like, like that's a little bit more than I think I want to spend pretty
Right.
much. So we were kind of like looking at areas that were further out that was going to cost less. And we would take Jasmine's parents with us just to see the homes. And for like 15, 20 minutes, we driving past farms and stuff like that
Yeah,
because
it's
we further
way
out.
out
And it's
there.
just a quiet ride because they like, and I'm like, I know they got something to say. I know like they like, yo, what is going on? Like Jasmine Powell would crack jokes like, yo, well, I guess we're not going to see our grandkids.
I know, because they're like so far out here. You'd be like, dang, you got to pack a bag to drive out to y'all's house. Anyways, so but tell them like what my dad said. And this is a really big turning point for us.
Yeah, powerful lesson for us. So one thing that he shared with us, he after like doing all this driving around, we go into different areas. I don't mind sharing the areas, Clayton, Garner, all these different areas that we didn't necessarily want to be in, but we were kind of just like, well, maybe this will work or whatever. We got back to the house after driving further out one time, and he was just like, yo, like, what do y'all want?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that y'all want? Like, what is number one on y'all list? And we was just like, yo, like, we want to be in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want this. And he's like, yo, so if that's what y'all want, then why wouldn't y'all just go to God, pray about that, and pursue that? Wow.
Like, be specific.
Be super specific.
Very specific.
And that was just like, yo, like, you're right. That was our teaching moment and lesson right there.
That was huge.
That
yeah.
we shouldn't be settling, you know,
Yeah.
for less. Like, what is that we want? Why put God in a box
Yeah.
when he's God and he can pretty much do anything?
Yeah.
And we've been faithful. Like, why not go for what's at the top of our list?
Yeah, so that was a really big turning point for us. I literally, in my journal, I have it to this day, I wrote down, and I even drew a picture. I'm not an artist by any means, but I wrote down everything that I wanted, down to a fireplace and a screened-in porch, and just like the little detailed things that I really wanted, because it was important to us.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
when you're talking about something as big as a home, like, you don't want to settle. You want to be comfortable, because my thing is, we're living in apartments. I've done enough of like the move around. I didn't want to get settled into our house. It has only half of what's on our list. And then 2 years later, we're like, we need to move because we don't have everything we want. You know, like we didn't want to go into it like that. So anyway, after that, we were like, okay, all bets are off. Stop the madness. We're not going out of freaking Clayton or Garner. No offense if you live out there, but that's just not our vibe. Let's look in the area that we want to look into. And so that's when we got really serious about looking over in the area where we live now. We were when I say we were so serious, we came over here to pray over the neighborhood. We would walk through the neighborhood.
We would come out here and just sit in the car in the neighborhood, and we would just eat in the parking lot.
Eat lunch.
Like, just eat lunch here, sit in the neighborhood, walk through the neighborhood as if it was already ours. And we would come over here probably like multiple times a week. We would be in this neighborhood.
Yes.
And we would take that drive like 30 minutes.
Because for us, I really believe us eating over here, us walking over here, us praying over here was an act of faith. Being like, okay, absolutely. Lord, like if it is your will for us to be in this area and we love it so much and this is the desire of our heart, have your way. By grace, through faith, we are believing that we are going to live over here.
Yes. But here was the catch, y'all. This was the one thing. So the one thing was we loved the neighborhood. We loved the feel of it. We loved the homes, the style, even like the alleyways. It just gave me vibes like back home where I'm from. And the one thing was the fact that they were built, and it may not seem like a big deal to y'all, but this was something that we wanted. Right. And we had came to like an agreement that new construction was what we wanted.
Yeah.
But these homes were built in like 2018, 2019, 2018. And so they were already a couple years old. And so that was the one thing that was like left off the list. And I remember like me and Jasmine being like, yo, like this is it. This is the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Jasmine just being super, super excited.
It's like, yes, I never.
But then I just felt like on my heart, I really felt like, yo, this isn't it.
And I'm like, what do you, when he told me, I'm like, what do you mean?
And I'm like, and I remember before I even told Jasmine, I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, like Jasmine's gonna be mad. Jasmine is gonna be hot. When I sit here and I tell her, this is not it.
Yeah.
She's gonna be hot. But I have to tell her because this is how I feel. This is what I feel in my heart. And I feel like, yo, and I had to remind her, like, if this is not it, that means that there's something bigger and better for us. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, if there's something better than this, then wow. So I had to tell her that, and she was just like, oh, okay. Like, and you could tell it kind of hit her. And what happened next?
Well, we'll get into that in a second. But I was like, okay, I trust you and I trust God. That's it. So I'm like, okay, well, when it's not this, what is it gonna be?
And so I feel like we went from coming over here like 5 times a week to like 3 times a week.
I know.
So we started coming over here a little bit less, but it was just one thing missing.
There was one thing missing. Okay, and then so quickly tell them about when you were at the conference.
Yes. So I was if you're in the real estate world in the Triangle and you're familiar with Keller Williams, just in general, Keller Williams has like a workshop conference type of thing called BOLD. And so I'm at BOLD with all of these real estate professionals. And of course in BOLD, they tell you, yo, like come up with a goal or come up with a few goals and then come up with a stretch goal. Like what is your stretch goal? Like the goal that makes you uncomfortable, the goal that like really takes you out of your comfort zone. What is that goal? And I wrote down, I'm like, yo, this was October of, was it 2021? 21?
Last year.
Yeah, so October 2021, I'm sitting there, it's October, and I'm sitting there with my team and they saying, yo, you gotta share basically your goals and stuff like that, your stretch goal. And I'm like, man, this feels uncomfortable, but let's do it. So what I wrote down as my stretch goal is that I wanted to be under contract on our new home, on our first home by December, January.
Of that year, of 2021.
Which was a couple months later. And I'm like, yes, that's my stretch goal. Like, I don't know how, I don't know like if it's even going to work, but this is the stretch goal. This is what I'm gonna focus on. This is what I'm writing down. And sure enough, like wrote it down and then we can fast forward.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you there because Jazz
gotta throw in a little cliffhanger.
I know, guys. I just don't want this video to be too long. But
make sure you watch the next video.
Make sure you watch part 2. We'll get more in depth. That's the bread and butter. Okay, let me tell you this part that was just like that's just a little. We had to set up the scene for you, but we're about to get into the meat and potatoes in the next video.
Of how it happened.
So make sure you're here next week to watch part 2. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share with a friend.
Right.
Hopefully this encourages y'all, because I want you guys, we never want to paint the picture like, oh, we just boop and got a house. Cute. Like, it was a waiting game. And so we just hope that part 1 encouraged you. We know that part 2 is going to encourage you, so make sure you come back for that. But we love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See y'all part 2.
Bye, guys.